to Quillpen's Quips, Knitting and More podcast. This is episode 14. I am Betsy, also known as Quillpen on Instagram and Ravelry, and there is also a Ravelry group and an Instagram specifically for the podcast, and all that information will be in the notes below the YouTube video. It'll be in my show notes on my blog, which is www.quillpensquips.com. And it will also be at the end of the podcast, so you can get all that information then. Welcome to any new viewers, especially. This is a podcast about knitting mostly, and a little bit more about me thrown in. And welcome back to any returning viewers. Thanks for coming back, hanging out with me. Gonna try to keep this one a little bit short and sweet. I don't even have any notes because honestly, I expected to be in the hospital having a baby by now. So it's a waiting game at this point. Contractions are coming. Early labor has started, but for me that could still mean another week or so. So we're just waiting it out. So I don't even have any notes ready. And in light of that, the fact that baby is coming soon, this will probably be my last podcast for a little while until after baby's born, and however long it takes me to get back on my feet and get things going again. So be patient with that, and I will be sure to keep you updated about that through Instagram and through the blog and Ravelry and such. So keep an eye out for that. He's coming soon. But Happy New Year! I hope you all had a nice holiday, a nice New Year's Eve. I have had a lot of days of false labor, so it's been kind of a crazy week since Christmas. But we had a great holiday. We had a great Christmas day with the boys. They're at an 8. The oldest one is 2.5, and he's at a great age for loving Christmas and getting excited about his presents. Last year he didn't really know what was going on, and I think his excitement passed on to the younger one, and so we had a fun day as a family, opening presents and being together. And then New Year's Eve we just hung out. So anyways, as you can probably tell, I am in a different location today. I am not at my house because baby's on his way any day now, and my husband is back to work and back to basketball and away games. I was nervous about being home alone in case I went into labor, and so we just recently moved into my parents' house, and they live 10-15 minutes away from our house, so it wasn't a big move. We still go back and forth every day, but so we moved in there so that we're sleeping here and spending our days here, so that if I do go into labor, then the boys are already here, my mom can watch them, and I can call my husband and we can go. So at least for this episode, hopefully by the next episode I'll be back at home and back into my routine and swing of things, but that is why there's a different background. But now we can move on. I say let's get this show started. Okay, so I do have a couple of finished objects to show you. So I showed you last time these had gotten started. So I have finished both of them now, and I love them. This is a super easy pattern. It's a free pattern. Sock hand mitts on Ravelry. You can check my project page for the actual link to the pattern if you can't find it. So those are my fingerless mitts and my Christmas mitts, and I love them, even though the holiday is now over. I did get to wear them for quite some time, a good week or so before Christmas. Then after having seen this, my dad and my uncle commented to me that my grandmother always has cold hands. And even in the house, she has a very hard time keeping her hands warm. And they really like these. We looked at some in the stores, and almost all of them have that flap that comes around, and almost all of them are lined. And so it's hard to find ones that would be good for just around the house use, not outside for warmth use. And so they asked if I would be willing to make her a pair, and I said sure. And she loves green, so I went stash diving and had some of this yarn left. So and these I blocked in the correct way, so that when she gets them, she'll be able to tell what they are. So I just made her a quick pair of the same exact pattern as mine. This is Madeline Tosh sock in the pool colorway. And I like the cool kind of striping effect that it has going on there. So that was my other finished object. So those are my two finished things since the last podcast. Currently on my needles is a baby blanket. And this will probably end up being like a car seat blanket. This is just a basket weave, stitch, knit 4, purl 4 kind of thing, and then alternate up the rows. And I'm just about done. I'm really, really close to the bind off, or what I'm going to make the bind off. This is freeform. I'm not really using a pattern. A long time ago, an older woman started making baby blankets for every baby born in her church. And so then my sister went to that church and had one of those babies. And so this lady had made a baby blanket for that baby. And so subsequent to that particular baby, I think there was a lot of babies born, and she kind of got overwhelmed with baby blankets. So she kind of cut back on the baby blankets, but my sister wanted to continue the tradition. And so for all of her kids, she made a matching blanket in each of their own color. And then she made one for my oldest two. She made one for my other sister's baby. But in the last however many months, both she and my other sister had a baby that she made a blanket for, and then this baby was coming up. So I wasn't sure she was going to be able to make one for me. So I thought, well, I'll start one just in case. But so I kind of went off of what hers were from my other kids. But it kind of, I don't know whether I did a different gauge. I didn't know what her gauge was or anything. So it's kind of turning out a little smaller than hers were actually. So I'm thinking this might be just a car seat blanket. And then she is going to make him one. I think it's just going to, be a little bit, it takes some time to make. Don't we all know that? So this will be just a car seat blanket, or a, quick keep in the diaper bag kind of blanket, not his special swaddle blanket. That will be coming from her. But so I'm almost done that. So that should be just another, I really think I'm going to finish it today, maybe tomorrow, unless baby comes, then we'll see. Then as far as what's coming next, if I finish this super soon and just need an interim project, I am going to make myself a hat out of this fun yarn. I've shown it to you before, the Accident in the Candy Cane Factory from Fiberific Yarns, Sunflower. This is something I won from Tam's Crafty Knits podcast, one of her giveaways, and it's kind of been languishing in my stash, and I think I really think this would be great for kind of a Valentine's Day feel, because it's the pinks and the grays and stuff, with I'm thinking a gray pom-pom, maybe even leftover this. The baby blanket is being made in Madeline Tosh Twist Light. Yes, Madeline Tosh Twist Light in the Turn colorway. So I'm gonna have quite a bit left over. So I might do a pom-pom or something with that. But anyway, so that's kind of my interim project, because on the 7th, I believe, I have to double check, our UFO challenge starts again. And so we're starting a new round for 2017 of our Unfinished Objects Challenge. And what it is for this year is everybody that wants to participate in it's kind of our local knit group. Not even our knit group, because we don't always all knit together, but kind of our local fiber artists, fiber enthusiasts, I guess. And so anybody that wants to participate puts $5 into the pot up front. So there is a pot to be won. And then we make a list of 6 things that we want to finish during the year. It can be a whip, it can be something that's been kind of languishing, a project that we haven't been able to finish. It can be something in our stash that we've had in there forever and haven't used, and now we want to use it. It can be a specific project, it can be a specific skill. There's parameters in terms of your choices, but it's pretty flexible. So you make your 6 choices and you make a list. And then this year we're allowed a lifeline, because we discovered last year that sometimes life just gets in the way and there's just no way you're going to be able to do the project that was drawn. So we have a lifeline that is specifically to be a super easy pattern or super easy something that we can finish quickly, that we can pull in the last minute for one trade, to save ourselves having to pay the $5. So on the 7th, I believe it is, the first number will be drawn. So somewhere 1 through 6 is going to be drawn. And then that number of our list is what we have to complete in those 8 weeks. And then if you finish it, you get your name entered to win the pot at the end of the year. If you don't finish, you put $5 in the pot. So my list has been made and I'm just waiting. And so I think this will be the perfect interim project, just a quick, fun, easy knit in the middle while I wait to see what number is being drawn. And then I'll have 8 weeks to get started on that. And mine vary. I have a cardigan that I want to finish, but my thing is to finish it at least to the sleeves. Because I have to be a little bit realistic since I don't know what number is going to be drawn when I have a newborn. Some is to use up some certain stash yarn that I've had for a while. I can't even remember all of my list, but I'll keep you posted because they will be upcoming in my future podcast as my current works and my upcoming works. So I'm waiting to see what that will be. We will find out soon. I will know by the next time I podcast for sure. So that is, I don't even have any stash enhancement this time. But so I think we're ready to move on. So for reading and watching, if you've been following the podcast for a little bit, you know that I was reading a book that a friend wrote that he is getting sort of peer reviewed before he decides to move forward with publishing or self-publishing or not. And I was one of his peer reviewers. And I had told him I was sure I would finish by the end of the year. That didn't happen the way I expected. Who knew that these last couple weeks of December would be super busy instead of just, free and relaxing and all the reading time in the world. Oops. But he's fine with it. He's at absolutely no rush. I'm a decent way through. It won't take me much longer. So it's a very good book. It's very good. I like it. I really enjoy reading it. I just haven't had the time quite to dedicate it to, because I also read it carefully, making notes and suggestions and trying to make some constructive criticism to give back to him. So it's not just a flip through the book, but so that's still going, but I should finish soon, hopefully. And then for our book club, we are reading The Mystery of Edwin Drood. So I am rereading that. And I realized that it has been 4 or 5 years since the last time I read it. And I have forgotten quite a bit, which is interesting because this is probably at least the 4th time I've read it. 4th or 5th, I think. I've read it quite a few times, but sometimes little details get, just get lost. And I discovered that there was a 2012 movie version made. And so I got that from the library, and my husband and I watched it. And wow, they made some choices. They made some clear choices about not only was Edwin murdered, kind of dealing with, was Edwin murdered? If he was murdered, who did it? And they didn't really leave, they made some bold choices that I didn't see coming. And so I'm watching the movie and I'm like, I don't remember this in the book, but then I'm like, well, no, that can't be in the book because they like show the murder, and then it's kind of like figuring out who did it. And so as I watched the movie, I realized how long it had been since I had read the book, and I was getting some facts confused with the director's choices in this movie. And so I don't recommend the movie until after you've read the book. Give the book a solid chance first, and then feel free to watch the movie. But just know the movie is very, very different than the book, although it's plausible. I mean, you don't know what happens in the book, so it's a plausible ending. It was interesting, but I've really enjoyed reading it again this time. I feel like I'm paying a little bit more attention now that I've seen the movie, kind of seeing what actually is in the book, what was the movie, and knowing that I'm going to get to discuss it with people, I think has, I'm just reading it differently. Instead of just reading it for yourself, knowing that we're going to discuss it and get to see other people's opinions and ask them, well, what did you think about this? Do you think that means this person did it? Or do you think that means this person did it? And so I feel like I'm reading it more, I don't know, I'm just more engaged with it this time. So I'm enjoying that. So I'm a little over halfway through already, and we don't meet until the end of the month. So that's been a fun read. And then watching, I haven't watched a lot of TV, other than children's shows, but we have been catching up on Arrow. Usually Arrow is our go-to. If we have time to watch something, we're kind of like, well, let's do Arrow. It also seems to be the one that the episodes get deleted faster, so kind of need to keep, the other ones seem to be staying. Those seem to be going away after a certain amount of time, so we're catching up on those. But some of them are weird because I guess Arrow teamed up with a couple other shows or expanded into a couple other shows, so characters from Arrow left and then it started their own spin-off, and so occasionally they do like one big group episode, but we haven't followed all those other shows, so we are totally lost when those episodes come up because they don't really fit in with the storyline. They're just, it's weird. And we had one of those recently and both of us were so confused, but overall we still enjoy it. Hopefully we're getting back to the storyline that we are used to and are wanting to continue. So we're mostly watching Arrow. And that's about it for reading and watching. See, I don't have a whole lot to talk about this time. I'm very sorry. So that means we're ready to move on. Next is sign language time. And I'm going to keep it short. I feel like I've been giving, my original plan was to do like 4 signs an episode, and then I've been giving you like 10. So we're gonna keep it short. But I went back through the thread, and I'm on the Ravelry group is a thread for sign language sessions. So if you have signs that you want to know, please comment and add them there. But I noticed, I reread a little bit more carefully. Last week someone had asked about, or last week I think I showed you the sign for make. What are you making? Or making now, or I finished making. But she had also asked for maker. Did she notice some people refer to themselves as a maker? And so it's the sign for make, and then you add a person ending, which is just flat hands to the side. So it's a maker. And this is a person ending across the board. So there's like write and writer, or teach and teacher. So to come down to this person ending adds that to whatever it is. So so knit and knitter, that kind of thing. So I wanted to go back and clarify that. So maker, a maker. And then I thought we would just do new year. So we have the sign for year is this. So you start with your dominant hand in a fist. Both hands are in a fist. Dominant hand above non-dominant. And you go around, starting out, circling it, and coming back up to touch. So it's one cycle, so to speak. So 1 year. So here. So we have new, something new. You're slicing off the newest layer, the top layer for something new. So new year. I almost did new maker. New year. So happy. This is your emotions, your feelings being rejuvenated and relifted. So happy new year. And maker. Maker. Happy new year. And that's all for today. So I think that finishes up the episode. Like I said, really kept it short and sweet today. So thanks for joining me, even when it's short. And hopefully next time I will have a lot of fun things to show you, some new finished objects, some new projects that I'm working on, and maybe a new baby to show you, for you all to meet. And so I just hope that you all have a great start to 2017, and that you set some fiber goals for yourself, and just expand your fiber horizons. Learn a new skill, or use a new yarn, or something like that. So I look forward to podcasting more with you in the new year. So thanks, and happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.